Good afternoon. First, can I get people to move a little bit closer? Dr. Onwueme says it will be a little more intimate, so come a little closer. You don't have to come really close, just so, you know, like at the movie theater, you don't want to have to look up. Yeah, like third row. Yeah. That's good.
Come. I love it.
Thank you so much for obliging me. I appreciate it. I'm Crystal Lucky, the director of the Africana Studies program and a member of the English department, and I'd like to welcome you to the 7th annual Senghor Damas Césaire Lecture in Africana Studies. This event, which was designed to focus on the contributions of Africa and the Caribbean to diaspora studies, continues to attract vibrant scholars and artists. This year's lecture proves no different. I'd like to thank our co-sponsors for their support and generous contributions to make this afternoon possible: the Center for Peace and Justice Education, the Communication Department, the Cultural Studies Program, the English Department, the Institute for Global Interdisciplinary Studies, the Theater Department, and the Waterhouse Family Institute for the Study of Communication and Society. Few scholars can add to their list of accomplishments during their lifetime an international conference dedicated to their work. However, 2 years ago today, the conference entitled Staging Women, Youth, Globalization, and Eco-Literature came to a close. Hosted by the University of Abuja in Nigeria's capital city, and co-hosted by Central Michigan University and the University of Alberta, Edmonton, Canada, the hugely successful international conference highlighted the influence that Tess Onwueme's work has had on African drama. The author of over 20 plays, which have been produced by the National Theatre of Lagos, Nigeria, Vassar College, Smith College, Columbia University, the New Federal Theatre in New York City, Purdue University, and the BBC World Drama Service, Dr. Onwueme has written extensively about a range of social, political, historical, cultural, and environmental concerns of the masses being left behind in the geopolitics of today's global market culture. As well, her work serves as the lens through which audiences can consider people of African descent in the inner cities of America, Africa, particularly the Nigerian Niger Delta, and other impoverished communities around the world. Writing, for me, Professor Onwueme has noted, is really a virtual conversation with the world. I consider myself a global citizen, and the issues I write about, whether they are about women, poverty, and youth, are always there, ever present in my work. There are no statutes of limitations on poverty, where it is located, or youth, or the struggles and the challenges of women. So in many respects, I have found myself very much engaged in this conversation with the world, the global community beyond borders. The 4-time winner of the Association of Nigerian Authors Drama Prize for her play Then She Said It in 2003, Shakara Dance Hall Queen in 2001, Tell It to Women in 1995, and The Desert Encroaches in 1985, Tess Onwueme is also the winner of the 1988 Distinguished Authors Award and the 1989-90 Martin Luther King Jr. Distinguished Writers Award. In April of 2009, Dr. Onwueme received the prestigious African Literature Association's prestigious, I apologize for repeating the word, Fanlon Nichols Award. The award is given annually to an African writer whose work has demonstrated a commitment to democratic ideals, humanistic values, and literary excellence in Africa. As well, her play, The Reign of Wazobia, has been adapted for film and video and will soon be released to the public. And as if she weren't busy enough, she's also working on a novel, What I Cannot Tell My Father. With undergraduate and master's degrees from the University of Ife and a PhD from the University of Benin in Nigeria, Dr. Tess Onwueme holds the University Professor of Global Letters Endowed Chair at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, where she has taught since 1993. My work, she says, is really the air I breathe, and the air is from the world around me. In my work, I've talked about my passions, about my avid interests or fervent passion for justice and the need for healing, the need for equity in the world we live in. Join me in welcoming Dr. Tess Onwueme, who has come to erupt silences and to speak and perform the soul of Africa.
She makes me feel so much more wired. And you know, I'm going from hot flashes to becoming radioactive. Anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Now, I must thank you all for choosing to share this moment with me when you could be busy doing some other fun thing as you chillax, as my children say. In particular, my ton of gratitude to my enablers, Professors Crystal Lucky and Chiji Akuma, who conspired to arraign and hoist me here to be heard. I salute you all. And to make it loud and clear, let me drum my gratitude by rousing your voices in this choral chant to affirm each one of us, as we do in the Igbo world of Nigeria, from where I began my journey decades ago. So now, I'm going to say to you, Kwenu. And I would like you to respond, "Eh." Now, what does Kwenu mean? It's like, you know, just calling on us all to speak as one voice into a choral chant to let everyone's voice be heard. And I would like us to bring down the roof with our voices. And A simply means yes. So I'm calling on you, let's speak with one voice. Let's affirm one another. And then A, yes. You ready? Kwenu! Hey. It's not loud enough. I want you to be confident as you say that. Kwenu! Hey. Kwenu! Hey. Kwenu! Hey. Kwenu! Hey. Now we're ready. Now to matters arising from erupting silences. First, let's unravel the character of silence. We note that silence inhabits the heart of the invisible. They caught each other as soulmates. And in this context, I shall substitute one for the other. But is silence the absence of sound, as is commonly assumed? Not so quick. For silence is marked with a variegated and dynamic character. One curious wiki notation states that, and I quote, "Silence goes beyond the lack or absence of sound. For socially, it is a sign of the overbearing memories that burden us," unquote. And to this, I must add, on a good day, silence is soothing. On others, it stays charged as words in waiting, marinating, simmering, stinging, rippling, and throbbing deep inside veins with flaming fire in the soul and flesh, especially for the inflamed, bearing boils of the human pigmentation in the heart, as if it was a curse. As tidal sea waves, silence is frothy, foaming, surging to the shores till it crashes at the vulva of the land, erupting into words armed as weapons. None knew this scepter of silence better than these pioneering pigmented men of letters, Leopold Senghor, Leon Dumas, and Césaire, the Troika, men of steel, who dared to plant and irrigate a counter-insurgency culture drive that engendered and provoked the negritude movement as a necessity for the assaulted black world. Granted, another school of thought, championed by the celebrated Wole Soyinka, might chide these cultural tigers for affirming their tigritude ideology. I stand rather not simply to take sides, but to drum invocations for the triumvirate fathers of negritude, wired with their Pan-African ethic and sensibility, for their timely cultural interventions to rise up and talk back and speak truth to power, especially at that dark time in the 40s and 50s, when the Pan-African world was still in the stranglehold of the colonial West. For the courage of thinking anew with seminal insight, for insisting in naming and reaffirming Africa to the world that had spitefully displaced and denied her very existence and soul, and especially for Aimé Césaire, fearless father of negritude, who dared in his discourse on colonization to look the tyranny of the Western ogre in the eye and say no, as he denounced the rampaging, quote, civilization that uses its principles for trickery and deceit, and as a dying civilization with drum invocations for Senghor, Damas, Césaire, for their landmark legacy in initiating the call response symphony of erupting silences to shatter the unholy ears of the imperial predator with drum invocations and more. And I too have been touched with the flaming fires in the belly of these literary beacons. Since my undergraduate years, I must confess that I became happily contaminated with the healing cultural virus as I caught the negritude fever that has now metamorphosed into the Afrocentrism, brimming with insights as I've joined the vanguards and seekers of truth in probing the scepter of silence, making it my business in creative drama to exhume and showcase the myriad faces of the invisible from the habitual subjectivity and silence imposed by the noisy rubble of today's market culture, as Cornel West asserts. Commenting on the invisible, the Japanese-American writer Hayase Yamamoto insists, and I quote, that invisibility is an unnatural disease, unquote. To this, I must add that the invisible are the voiceless, the disillusioned, disempowered, socioeconomically and culturally displaced, dislocated, dehumanized, deracinated, and indeed dazed or dumped constituency. Simply put, the invisible are the unheard, those left behind, the nameless faces, working class and underclass, toiling through 1, 2, 3 jobs, flipping burgers, drowning in the escalating avalanche and tidal waves of bills and more bills for house rent, mortgage, gas, insurance, energy, and utility payments, with their self-reproducing fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers and aunts and uncles and cousins of bills and more bills, just to make ends meet, mopping, sweeping, scrubbing floors with the mess of others. These masses, tagged by the renowned Ngugi wa Thiong'o as the 80% who live below the breadline standard in his special significations of Frantz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth. Yes, these are the invisible, groveling in poverty, wallowing in the margins of power and privilege that push them beyond dysfunctional behaviors into desperate acts of survival in the turbulent, treacherous seas of today's techno-crazy marketplace, reflected in my play, Shakara. For these, choking in the fumes of globalization, urbanization, corruption, socioeconomic, cultural, and political drought, killing, maiming, and polluting the soul and body of the environment with the polity in the global community today, I choose to cast my vote for the mass of the unemployed and uninsured women, students, minority youth, gay, lesbian, marked others, to be framed out in the politics of race and ethnicity, and for them who still remain outsiders, exiles in their own world, for these and more, whose voices never make it to the national narratives and records of history, except, of course, to record or report their crimes, as we do these days, to criminalize even the innocent and the powerless per se in the recent healthcare debate, regarding the public option for the poor, so caricatured and stigmatized as if poverty was some crime or terminal disease from which the privileged sheltered few must be quarantined. I choose to cast my vote. And I'm going to skip a number of things so that I can cut down this. And now, as I come to towards the end of this questioning, I have this for you to take out and take away. I once read a car sticker with the inscription, and I quote, "If you want justice, you must work for peace," unquote. And I ask, are we really? And then I wonder, could hunger and starvation of many, say in Haiti, next door, join the invented ranks of WMD? Could mass poverty be a WMD? And as we market freedom in our image, trampling down the rights of so many around the world, and silence in so many, could silence imposed on many by a few also be ranked as a WMD? And still the question begs to be answered. How should we act or react to the politics of silence in our world today? I would like you to think about that. And I do not simply serve the role of solicitor and advocate for these unheard and unsung multitudes left behind in the selective dispensation and rationing of justice, freedom, and equitable distribution of capital, with the wealth of the land ambushed by the vampires of power and capital. I choose to cast my vote through the repeated topos of my creative work, as in Desert Encroaches, The Broken Calabash, What Mama Said, Tell It to Women, and so many others. And in this, Can't you hear the shouts, groans, and screams beneath their silences? I see them, I hear them, I know them, and hence I write and frame them into the global space classroom to stage a hearing for them. And this way, I write to kill silence. Now, let us hear the speak, the unheard. At this point, I'm going to share with you some excerpts from my work. The first I'm going to share with you is from the play Riot in Heaven. Riot in Heaven dramatizes the struggle surrounding a man of color called Traveler X. Traveler X was a very insignificant minority in the community he lived in. Every Sunday for years, he went to the same church, sat in front, in the front pew. And at the end of the service, the pastor will go down, and all the people will exchange pleasantries, but nobody ever, acknowledged his presence. So in frustration, one day he decided he must be seen and he must be heard. So he decided to go and buy one of these sombreros, the Mexican hats, and then he wore it to church. And sat there in that front pew, and suddenly everybody's eyes was on him. And the priests, you expect that people will take off their hats in the church, but he was there. And that day, the priest actually, the sermon he had was about these sons of iniquity who insult the face of the Lord with their hearts. And, the traveler X sat there, just thinking, so anyway, at the end of the day, the first person the priest came down to greet was Traveler X, and he shook, who are you? He said, I'm also answering, and then he said, where are you, where are you from? I'm from here, I've been here. Really? He said, yes, for the past 20 years, I've sat on this same pew, this same seat. Really? Anyway, while that was going on, the owner of the hat, he actually stole the hat. He didn't buy it. Apprehended him and shot him. So now, this man who has been struggling all his life to become somebody, to get somewhere, finds him now. He's wanted to go to heaven, the metaphoric heaven. So now he's on his way, on his march to heaven. But guess what? He can't get into heaven. He gets to the crossroads, and there are gatekeepers, Stanley Livingston and Jefferson Lugard. At Heaven's Gate, they will not let him pass through. And there are barricades, watch out for aliens crossing. And then he's told that he needs two forms of ID to enter heaven. He needs a driver's license, and he needs an alien number, green card. And Traveler says, in heaven too? He needs to pay his ticket and all that. And so at this point, he erupts from his silence. And I'm going to share with you just that moment of his rupture, the rupture of his own silence. For seasons, I've been counting, shifting and counting cards to play black as hit number in the rainbow. The more games I win, the more I'm played out in the row. The more games I win, the more I'm played out in the row. My God cut out a string to spread other colors in the rainbow. I hang out, knowing all else but me, finding all else but me, missing, always, always. I find all else but me turned around and around, shifted out of game, shifted out of fame, always, 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 made to lie in limbo. As colors are dancing the rainbow, images of me crawl backwards, backwards, reflected behind colors, or are simply summed up with one harsh stroke of fire, followed with zebra crossings on my face, leaving me a riot of colors to firm up wind broken. Where now is short spots left in the rainbow for me to spread the color black and not hang it. Where now is short spots in the rainbow for me to spread the color brown and not hang it. Too much color in winds, too much valor in winds broken. I am color. Too much died in winds colored and broken, scattering the race among faces rioting. I am so much, my cord spread, scattered, defying wind. I am I'm going to share with you another segment, a segment from my novel, Things Left Unsaid. This particular moment in the novel, it's a moment of separation, of parting between a 6-year-old girl and her mother who is running away from a very bad marriage. A marriage of pain where she's hurt a lot. And so it is that moment, and this little child is the only one who knows that her mother is running away, going to be a runaway wife that very night. So I'm going to share that with you. And it's titled, The Moon is My Witness. The moon is my witness. Despite my desperate plea, the sun had gone down. Too soon. It will not compromise its nap, shadowed at the end of the day. The sun, westbound, tearing down its tropical brilliant white skirt, spread out to adorn the day. What remained was a dark hole poked in the eyes of day, filled with silence. I must find my way in it. My mother, too. I saw her trying to ignite her way with a patch of light, forced from the faint yellow flickering oil lantern in her hand. My snorri baby brother was secured with a wrapper around her frame. All that was left of her earthly belongings was laid carefully in the oblong wicker basket. Waiting by that rickety door, that treacherous door. I cursed. Wish you had more nerves in you to swing up close and hold her back. But you have always been a coward. You can't even boast of a key. Any key? Door? Just find an excuse, any excuse, to lock in and sentence her and me to a house arrest. I don't mind. So long as I can wake up with my mother. But this traitor door has conspired with all else to rob me of her. My mother. The load wicker basket furtively lifted onto her bare head. I look out, see the moon, like a shy new bride trying so hard to smile and shine through the dark deluge of our world. The stars surrounding her look dull. Baby, it's time. It's time, she whispered, as she pulled me so gently in that hand that I wished I could remain glued to. Just to be a label in my mother's arm would be all I needed in my world now to survive. A tag to somebody I know, my mother. Baby, I'm ready now, she repeated. Are you, Mama? Yes, baby. I'm ready now. Come see me off, her hushed voice pleaded. But I stood still. She began to pull me, gently, gently. My fumbling feet followed, with my heart racing, racing into the night, until her dark hold opened up and swallowed us, creeping into the night. My own feet beside her, hers wobbling but relentless, undeterred. She's on her way now, pushing the steamy hut with the village behind her. What direction? I still wondered. And where is she going? Somewhere, making her way out there to the unknown. Now I plead guilty to being her accomplice, her foot soldier, as I'm the invisible soul infantry brigade allied to this commander, my own mama. Is she marching to another war? But it will take me many more years to begin to fathom the truth of the statement that had become Mama's mantra then, that in life, it's not always the destination you reach that matters. The journey matters. Just the journey. Going. Just going, she intoned. That night she left, she embraced him, night, and he chewed her, swallowed her up. I'm cold, scared, Mama, please stay. Still holding on to her load with one hand, she picked me up with the other, held me tight, tighter in that arm as she breathed hard into me. Her breath stuck in my face, her scent warm, held steady, lingering, soothing. And for so long, I would carry that with me far into years to come, especially when I was afraid. Years later, when I would trip and fall, as I did fall so many times, and whenever I was losing myself, her soothing breath would guide me back into the way, marked by her words. We had reached the front gate of my primary school. Here, Mama broke into my thoughts again. Malio. Yes, Mama. You know Mrs. Ono? Oh, that trader who sold you the fabric for my school uniform? Yes, baby. I haven't paid her yet. So, Mama, should I return the uniform to her? Oh, no. She won't even accept it. Then what do I do now, Mama? She paused, took a deep breath. Baby, just tell Mrs. Ono that I haven't forgotten and will not forget. That I'm not running away from her, but just going for now. That I'll pay her someday. Just tell her so. You hear me? Yes, Mama. Don't forget. As she spoke, I looked down, stared at the thick khaki uniform that was already smiling at the seams around my waist. And I remembered. How could I not? For one thing, it was the only dress I had, apart from the one that I regularly wore to school. Mama had made both uniforms from Mrs. Ono's fabric. She spread a long piece of cloth on the floor and asked me to hold one end of it while she cut it into pattern pieces with her cooking knife sharpened on the whetstone that Baba also used for the knife for shaving our hair, Bundi and me, and all the other children of the kindred. Once the pattern was ready, Mama stitched the pieces together with a black ceiling fan thread that women normally used in plaiting their hair. The khaki dress matched my small body. I was in love with it, especially because Mama had made it. I didn't have to be flogged anymore or turned back from school by Mr. Anyale, the headmaster who would not tolerate colored dresses in his school. It made me feel so proud that after several weeks of being sent home from school for not wearing the school uniform, I had not one, but two. I walked tall. Mama, don't worry. Mrs. Ono knows. You are not like that. I'll tell her. Great girl. She praised and pumped my hand several times as she pulled me closer to her. Years later, when I looked in the mirror, I'd see her blue-black body now standing firm like a soldier on guard. This guard of honor in my face. My mama, my mother, talking to herself. Baby, it's okay to fear, to be afraid sometimes, but don't ever let it conquer you or control you. I've learned that along the way, and I'm still on my journey. Another phase of the journey, life, she chuckled. Mama, I'm tired of this journey. I want to know when it will end. Malije, yes, Mama. Malije, yes, Mama. She stretched each word, each syllables, as if to plant every strand of it in my head and heart. Malije, nobody can tell the end of a journey. I helped to complete it for her, as I knew and had been told, and that was my name. No one can tell the end of a journey. But Mama, is it my fault? Is it? What, baby? That you are going, leaving. Child, how can you say that? What makes you ever think and talk like that? Mama, because sometimes when you were angry with me, like that day I cooked with the only okra you had for soup, you took me behind the bush path to the farm and you beat me so very hard. Put pepper in my eyes. And I screamed that it was because of me. And Mama, you kept screaming that it was because of me you were suffering. If it wasn't for us, your children, you lamented, you would have been gone from this bloody place long ago. That is what you said, Mama. Oh, come on, dear. Stop. Stop, child. Her throat bubbled with tears. I'm so sorry. Sorry, forgive me, baby. She sobbed until she finally burst into tears. Her tears raining freely. She soaked mine, bathing, and I was bathed in her tears. Child, I was lost, confused, and didn't know, how frustrated. Didn't know what to do, where to go. And is that why you beat me so hard? Oh, baby, can't you forgive? The words cracked in her lips, broken by the weight of her pain. I will, Mama, but please, tell me one thing. Will you come back to me? To you? Yes. I will never go away from you. I will always be there for you. Always. Always. And you will come back to me? Yes, someday. When is that soon? 2 days? 1 market week? I can count, you know. I said, rushing through my counting from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh dear, how do I know? No one can tell what tomorrow will bring. All I can tell you is that I will try. We'll continue to try. Now, I'm not just going where life takes me, leads me, but for you, I will always come back. And Malije, never, never give up. Nobody gets anywhere by giving up. Try to come in, or try to come in through the easy way. What may seem like easy now may become hard. Very, very hard later. I know it because I've been there many times, she sighed. Like I am now, it's taking me time to know, to learn. Malije, my daughter, that is all I can tell you. Oh, dear, we've gone too far already. Come, let me take you back home. She pulled me along as she made her 360-degree turn. I must take you back to the village. I could see we had left the village far behind. My primary school on the outskirts of the village was now far behind. The only other wayfarers, travelers, rather, on this dusty highway were the sheep. We passed them eventfully, in silence. We continued back until my mother again realized that she too had gone too far. Again, then she will sound our note of caution. Malije, we've gone too far now. Back. We began again. Stay, Mama. Stay, please. Don't go. Don't leave me. I cried. No, child. I must be going now. I must. She choked in her tears and even began to tear away from me. But I held on to her and just wouldn't let go. Okay, can't see me off. It's getting too late for now and for me and for you. Too late in the night, child. Child, night is here. And you walk me only a few steps back. Yes, Mama, I promise. I rushed into her arms. Tears had taken possession of both of us. Fears, too, riding high into us. But we're not in control. With all senses lost, we couldn't move, could no longer see. Drunk now on the salty canals running down our faces, staggering back and forth and back, for my mother would see me off, then back. She would take me back to the village, and again I'll see her off, back on that road to nowhere and no place that she called her journey. We went far on this back and forth circles of interminable journey on this road. Then the cycle was finally broken. A cackle, then a very loud howl, unleashed and hauled far into the night, broke loose, tore into the stretched silence of the night. So shrill it injected new chills into me and Mama too, and stopped, froze there on the spot. We need to part now, baby. We must. Go home, baby, go home. With that, she turned around, finally, started walking away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. I stood there, counting her steps, searching for her footprints, until I froze there. And she kept moving, but I couldn't stop counting. Couldn't. My mother was going. I couldn't hold her any longer. I couldn't hear her any longer. All I could do now was just stand there, gaping. Her shadow stretched longer and longer, fading into the night until it disappeared completely. I could see her no more. No more. My mother is gone. Gone. My world was gaping at me. Up above, my watery eyes caught the moon the moon, talking, her glowing face filled with the entire sky. Ah, this large moon with her stars. I stared, transfixed. I had a new family, my galaxy, a new world to embrace. Take me, oh, my freedom-bound moon and stars. Take me. Make me a dot in the eye of history. But they just continued laughing at me. Now, everywhere and everything, I looked brighter. I looked up and saw her, the moon, her brilliant golden face, beaming loud until my eyes began to water. Beads of tears began falling from my eyes. The moon, too, she had opened her treasures, began to empty her bowel. Raindrops on me, so sudden. Drip, 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 drip. Kata, 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 kata. I started running back to that hut. Nobody else was on that road now, not even the ship. I ran until I entered my hut. My place now. That rickety door was waiting. I crept behind her, coiled up behind her in my famous fetal pose. It was raining after all. And this was where I was whenever it rained. It's where I should be, as I am now. It's raining on me now. Mama, it's raining on me. Mama, come, Mama, it's raining on me. Too heavy, Mama, come. Mama, stop the rain, stop this rain. I remember it all. How can I ever forget when I've seen it all? The moon is my witness. I'm tired, retired now behind this door. My door. Let her tell you. Let me sleep. Sleep now that I have no voice. I am a subject of the moon, subject to her. I adore her, my fetish. In this world, they say there's only one moon, but I see two. The one that froze in my face that day Mama left. The other one, so unstable, she comes and goes with the world as it pleases her. Since then, I ask for nothing else. I have no voice, no place, nowhere else to go. Just here, behind this fallen door, my door. Dreaming about Mama, my mother, my ambassador to the night. It's my fault. I led her like a lamb to be slaughtered in night's abattoir. And the night took her. He took her. Slowly, slowly, wholly, until he swallowed her up. All I have left is this dream. Someday I'll find her. Yes! Someday I'll find her to wipe her tears away. I must. I sobbed myself to sleep. The last segment I'm going to share with you is from the play Shakara. And Shakara is a 17-year-old daughter of a very poor woman who doubles as a nanny and a plantation worker. And Shakara, like any teenager, they live in a city that is sharply split between the ultra-violent rich and the very poor. And Shakara is fed up with being not just second class, but third class citizen. She sees her mate, and she wants to break the cycle. And so Shakara leaves school, joins a gang, and becomes a gangster, and, goes in, she begins to market her body. And she's found the power of the body to make money. And, she's always in the nightclubs, and she goes into drugs. And it is in the process of this that she also wins a dance competition and becomes crowned by the gangsters or her newfound family of gangs of youth that named her the dancehall queen. So the mother and the sister, her sister who is just 19 years old, they struggle day in, day out, go to the plantation and, just toiling to be able to put a little food on the table. Shakara is not interested in all that. She, she dresses up and, she puts on her makeup and put her very short skirt and, she's ready on one of these nights, and the sister and the mother have just come back. It's rained and the roof leaks. It's rained and, the sister, in carrying the heavy load she's trying to cross, she trips and falls, and Shakara is busy, painting her face, getting ready for her midnight show. So at this point, it's that moment when the mother, cannot take it anymore, and she confronts this wild, revolting, rebellious teenage girl who would not listen. So where is that child? Mwebuni? Are you deaf? Can't you hear me, Mwebuni? So you won't answer me. What in the world are you doing when your only sister comes home with a heavy load on her head right in front of you, Is it too much to give a helping hand? Well, anybody, any normal child would have done that. Yes. But not you, Mwebuni. No, not you. You have grown wings. Oh, yes, you have. And now you know what your mother knows, At 17, one day monkey go market, you not go come back. You hear me? One day monkey go market, you not go come back. But it's not me. Oh, no, not this Mwebuni who will teach you the hard lessons of life you need to know. We shall see. We shall see how the python basks in the sunshine. I should have known. I should have known that I was wasting my saliva talking to this deaf, arrogant child whose heart is made of stone. I should have. Otherwise, how can anybody explain why you are filled with such hatred for your own family? Child, tell me, how can you remain in this place and let your own sister continue to suffer? Did I send her to the plantation? People of the world, can you hear her? Can you hear her? My own child talking to me like that? Say that again and you will regret the very day you were born into this family. As if I don't regret it already. Mwebuni? Mwebuni? Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Haven't I told you not to call me that bush name? I reject it. You know what? You reject it. Now tell me what your name is. You who haven't sold in the market and are already celebrating your profit. Tell me what your name is. Leave me alone. Not until you tell me your name. Today you will tell me your name. I'm waiting. I don't know any other. My name is Shakara, and that's it. See The half-naked queen of the slum. The chicken plume which flies to the dance floor even when the chicken is still at home. Fly. Fly. Fly until those wings get broken. Only then will you know. Shakara, Queen Bluff. Shakaya, King Queen Bluff. Whoever names herself that way, you senseless girl. I want it. How does anyone win a name? Well, I did, and that's my name. To be crowned by those gangsters who get you spinning and spinning on your tail? Are you out of your mind, child? Oh, my poor daughter. I knew it. I knew they were going to lead you astray. And that's why I've been fighting and struggling, oh. My dear child, you should know you are much too precious than all of those people combined together. Stay home. Go to school. Stay away from them. Those gangsters are nothing but trouble. Trouble, oh. Say whatever you like. I know myself, where I want to be. And yes, my name is Shakara, dance hall queen. I like me. I love myself. I like me. I love myself. You silly girl. You are truly out of your mind. But no, the old woman who sees a baby suckling too knows the taste of milk. Ha! My daughter. Like you now. I too was once a teenager. Young, pretty, sexy. Ah, child. You want me to remember? No. No. Not now. Not now. Someday, maybe. But one thing I know for sure is that this sassy thing won't take you very far. Mama, you know what? Tonight, I'm going to be at the joint, swinging with guys with some cool cash, green stuff. Oh my God. She's lost, wasted. You children of nowadays have no ears. We do, but you only wear them as decorations. At least we're doing something. Now, dear, come, my child. I must talk to you. I got no time. Child, hear me. For once, listen. How do you think I ended up like this? You think it was always hard like this? Like you now. I had great promise. Believe me, I did. But I ruined it. I ruined myself, and here I am today. You know, your father. Leave me about your father. Don't trouble me with that. Then somebody has to make you know. As my mother used to say, it is the duty of the old to let the youths know. And it is the duty of the youths to heed advice from the old. Note too that if you pound well, you pound in the mother. If not, you pound on the ground. But then, when I was young like you, I wouldn't listen. Well, look where I am now. I slipped. And today, I'm still struggling. But I'm not trying to. I cannot blame you for anything. But I do want you to learn from my own experience what you may call my failure. Well, that's yours, not mine. I'm not here to inherit anybody else's failures but mine. Don't you burden me with your past, you just like you. Let me have my own experience, make my own mistakes, and leave me alone. And besides, times have changed. for the worse. Who are you to judge? What do you know? Die! Let your mother speak. I think I have a problem. Sassy tongue. Let me speak. I know I'm nothing, but hear me. My duty as a parent is to is to tell you what you need to know. What you do with it is your own business. You wonder why we are not with your father today? Well, you broke up. Mm-hmm. Why? You think any woman with children just wakes up one day and decides to break up and walks away with years of marriage and with her children too? What do you know about my past? Your father? I've always wanted to tell you, but still you won't listen. Your sister knows a lot. Go and tell her now. Leave me alone. Listen. Listen, Listen. Listen to your mother. The fowl which refuses to listen hears inside the anus of the wolf. Listen, you deaf one who sold your ears and bought wild eyes to look beyond your reach. Now, tell me what I need to know. Ever since the school break, you have changed a lot. You've been angry, restless, impatient. Haven't I always been? But never like this. Am I not your mother? As a mother should. I watch my children, look into their eyes, listen to their voices to see just where they are at all times. It's my duty. And I'm doing the best I can. If only you let me. Otherwise, how can I help you if I don't know you or your needs? Then it's no use trying if you've done your best. But then, child, help me to continue to succeed. Try. Try. That is my song, the anthem that I've learned from life. But Mama, why is it that some people don't even try at all, or maybe just a little, and they get all they want? Don't you see? Child, I know what you mean. But what? No buts. I'm tired of hearing but. How can anyone go through life like this? Why should I be so young and so ashamed of myself? Yes, I am. And for good reasons too. When am I ever going to have the chance to live like my mates, eh? Do you know how often I get taunted by my peers about my old, worn out, second-hand clothes? Child, does it matter? You are not what you wear. But what? What am I? Who am I? What am I? Oh dear. If only you knew the art of patience and perseverance. Oh, Mama, I'm tired. Tired of being ridiculed and laughed at by my peers who are not even as pretty as myself. The way they look down on me, my clothes as if I carry shit on my body. Mama, you should see the teachers, the principal, even the reverend sisters and fathers are so partial. They always have their favorites. Rich people's children, of course. Their rich parents come in their long, shiny cars anytime, any day to visit school. But the poor parents, Mama, you should see the way the principal chases them like flies, following the principal's orders. Even the gate man slaps the gate in their faces while he runs to open it for the rich parents with their long, long cars. It's only me, well, Kechi too, my sister too, and other poor children who have to Mama, others have everything, but not me. Not me. Why? 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 Baby, your time too will come. When? When? When will it come? When I'm old, 40, 50 years old with everything flabby like. Oh, believe me, Mama. Oh, believe me, Mother. I've tried and I'm tired. Tired already? At what age? 17. Been trying for 17 years. Pardon me. Child, tell me, just how long have you been trying? For 17 whole years. And that's a lifetime. Ah, my dear daughter, come. Oh, how you amuse me, daughter. 17? A lifetime? Child, I'm past 40, and I'm still trying. Our life's journey. Come on with me, come. A long, very long, thorny, winding road that is sometimes straight, but many times crooked. Ah, child, what else can I tell you? You've only just begun. Child, on this journey, you must arm yourself with 3-time release vitamins. Patience, perseverance, and prudence. What did I say? Patience? Go ahead.
Perseverance.
And prudence. What did I say? Patience, perseverance, 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 and prudence. Don't give up. Nobody gets anywhere by giving up.